Hello everyone, are you looking for a way to deal with the London system? We got you covered because Benji is competing in Pogchamps and one of his main competitors, Sardoche, plays the London system. In fact, Sardoche's coach, Blitzstream, crushed me once with it. So we're gonna use the day today to find some good plans to counter that opening. And with us, as always, is Mr. benjyfishy.
Hello.
So I have spent hours looking at chess moves, looking at your current system, trying to find something that interrupts White's intentions in the London system, and I believe I have found something that we're gonna be able to use.
Yeah.
But we are introducing a new move. So White goes d4, we go d5, and now bishop f4. This is kind of what signalizes the London system. And now you're gonna go. Well, it doesn't really matter whether you go with the knight or with the pawn. But, like, you have your same first three moves pretty much no matter what. In this case, I've gone with the pawn first and then with the knight.
That's what I normally would do.
Yeah, so this is like, so far, everything is the same as you would normally do. But here, I'm making a change. When White has developed the bishop early to this f4 square, before you would just get your bishop out and get castled. This time, now there's a new rule. Now you are gonna move your bishop out so that you challenge White's bishop.
Okay.
And yeah, that's kind of it.
Yeah, and if he takes, I take my queen.
Yes.
But do you think he's gonna take?
No.
Or like, will most people take? No.
No. So here there are like three main options. Or rather, I would say two main options. Either they retreat this bishop, or they allow the bishop to be taken where it stands. So we're gonna look at both.
Okay.
First, those who just keep on getting their pieces out. If they allow you to capture this bishop on this f4 square, then you are instructed to capture said bishop.
Okay.
But, and this is important, if the bishop retreats, then we are more hesitant to capture this one, because in doing so, we then allow the rook to get into the game.
Yeah.
And we're kind of nervous because we're going to put our king on that side, and we don't really want a rook to be looking down on our king. So we want to exchange the bishops. That's why we put them up against each other. But we will not make the exchange if it allows White's rook to get into the game.
Okay.
However, with this bishop d3 move, when White allows us to capture on f4, we can make the exchange without the rook getting involved. So that's what we're going to do.
And also that was his pawns.
Yes. But I mean, doubling pawns in general, it doesn't need to be a bad thing. And one of the problems for black here is that White has this incredibly good control of the e5 square.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like White is saying, oh, thank you for doubling my pawns, because now I get a half open file. I get this area where my rook can get involved. And I don't mind the doubled pawns at all.
Yeah, that's kind of annoying.
Yeah, but that's what they're justifying their decision with. But we are still saying you got doubled pawns. Yes, you get an advantage out of it, but you also get a disadvantage.
Mhm.
And we believe the disadvantage outweighs the advantage.
Okay.
Okay, and now this is very important. Look at our pawns. They're all
bishop.
placed on the light squares.
Yeah.
And we have this bishop that's also on the light squares.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No.
That means our bishop is unable to efficiently participate in this game.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do?
Play b6 and try get a trade.
That is exactly what we're going to do.
Mhm.
And what if white goes to make a pawn chain?
We still do it?
Okay, let me see you making moves on the board.
Okay.
No. No. No, 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 no. I made a trap and you fell for it. I cannot believe we've been doing this for this long and you don't know when I'm asking trap questions.
I don't get it.
Okay, let me ask you this then. If you have the white pieces,
Oh.
what are we? What is
okay,
happening?
You trade, check. Yeah.
Yeah, very bad news.
Yeah. Okay.
So, it turns out that innocent-looking pawn move from white, when they played the pawn forward, that was actually a really evil trap.
Yeah.
So, we cannot go for the bishop exchange. What are we going to do instead?
Castle?
Yes. King safety, very important. Get the king out of the way early, but now we have the added incentive of wanting to avoid this queen getting up there and giving a check with the double attack. And if we're allowed, if white castles now, then we will move the bishop out and things are just fine. What if white goes with the queen and now has two pieces directed at this a6 square?
Oh, then we play here.
Yes, that is exactly what we do, because now our rook is contributing to the defense of the a6 square, so that you can safely play the bishop out next.
Mm-hmm.
And to make a long story short, white has no way of preventing your desired move. So you're gonna get to play this bishop. But that's not the end of the story, because we're also going to learn some middle games that can arise from this opening. So once you play the bishop out here, once you get this trade, I would say the opening is over. But we're going to continue our analysis so that we also know what to do in the middle game, because we want to be thorough for Sardoche's openings. So after the trade, your knight is pretty poorly placed here on the edge of the board. And surprisingly, you will often move this knight back. I know that's weird, but sometimes you will go back just to get it in towards the middle.
Yeah, I think the one time I did this, I did that as well, because there's not really much else.
Yeah, okay, well, that's a good thing then. But here, I wanted to show you a different plan. In general, what are you supposed to do? You know, I'm going to skip that. So, I mean, I guess if I asked the question like that, you would go with the queen, right? Because you want to connect the rooks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here, before we connect the rooks, we want to get our pawns involved in the fight for the middle. So the c5 move, we waited for a long time, but that's because we had other priorities. We wanted to get rid of our bad bishop first, but once we've done that, then we go back to our normal strategy of having these our little pawn house. Kind of different now with a pawn on a5, but it's the same principle.
Yeah.
And so when white tries to get their knight into a dominating position in the middle, I wanted to show you a maneuver on how you can get your knight to become a good piece, even though right now it's on the edge of the board. So this is something to keep in mind. It's usually only effective after the dark squared bishops have been traded. So keep in mind this is a plan for when white allows the trade on this f4 square.
Okay.
The knight goes back. White is trying to get their knights involved, and you go back with the knight again. Very strange play. But the point is that your final destination is a great placement. Because from here, you're controlling over towards your king in the middle. But you're also helping out towards the right-hand side on the queen side. So this knight is basically just covering all the important squares.
Would I ever want to play here? And then, or here and then go here?
No, I don't think so. No.
Okay.
Because if you go up, and if you then support your knight, moving this pawn this far forward means that you've given up on this square e5.
Oh, can't you do the thing you said last time though, like go here and then there?
Yes, but if you go there and then forward, it doesn't change the long term that the white's knight is able to get this e5 square where you cannot be chased away. But the problem is, often when we've studied this before, we've said, well, white gets a good square on e5, but we get a good square on e4, so it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But in this circumstance, you don't actually have a good square because there's a pawn that can chase your knight away.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, it's actually very useful for white to have doubled f pawns, because one of the pawns can kick your knight away while the other pawn supports the great knight in the middle. So in this circumstance, we never want to go aggressive. In fact, it's good that you ask, because in this middle game, Black's general plan would be to push the pawns.
Okay.
So you would do something like shutting everything down once you've gotten your knight into this great placement. And if you're given the chance, you're going to go aggressive with your pawns.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to get your rooks over here. And you're going to try to double your rooks. And you're going to open up this situation when your rooks are nice and ready to enter the game.
Okay.
And then, of course, sometime in the future, say you've gotten white on the defensive, then it's time to bring in this guy.
Yeah.
And start making threats. But you're not... First and foremost, your plan, where you think you're better, is going to be on the right side of the board.
Won't he, like... I mean, this is like if he does nothing, but he's obviously just going to, like, try to attack my king side, I'm guessing.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. If he tries to go very aggressive, like you do your plan, and he goes very aggressive, then your knights are just fantastically placed to deal with that. So, like, you can put one knight out here to attack this pawn. And if he protects, then you can get this other knight to try and chase away the queen that's protecting.
Yeah.
You're making like a perfect blockade on that side of the board.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
after you've done that, you can even start saying that, well, okay, you wanted to attack on this king side, but buddy, there's two of us.
Yeah.
And I'm in just as good of a position to attack as you are.
Mhm.
And in this specific circumstance, you're able to chase this knight back, and then you're going to win this pawn, and then you win the game.
Okay.
So yeah, let's move on to what's known as the main line,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
which is retreating the bishop. Sardoche has also played his knight forward. And I was supposed to check this out, and I forgot. So we may have to do another small session on this.
Okay.
But anyway, moving the bishop back is the main move.
Okay.
And then we don't want to trade
No.
because
It'll open up the H file.
yeah,
Or open up the book, yeah.
yeah. So instead, what we're gonna do is, what are we gonna do?
Oh, castle first, maybe?
Yeah, it's a pretty good idea. Solid plan.
Mm-hmm.
And if white, so basically white has some standard moves they want to play. They want to get their bishop out, they want to get their knight out, and they want to get their pawn forward.
Yeah.
And often they kind of interchange which move they make.
Mm-hmm.
But let's try with the bishop.
Okay.
What are you gonna do?
Here.
Yes, because
I want to trade my bishops. Or the bishops.
why do you want to trade the bishops?
Because my one's trapped in.
Yeah, these pawns in the middle are in the way of your bishop, so we're gonna try to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
And now, if white tries to go with the queen,
Go here.
and if white then moves into the middle,
Let me go.
yes. So, one of the most difficult things to deal with for you is gonna be when they capture this bishop, and that's kind of strange to understand, because seemingly when they capture, you get to take with your knight, and then kind of your knight is developed.
Yeah.
But the problem is, even though your knight is not at its starting position, it's not actually contributing much to the game.
Mm-hmm. It's just on the edge.
Yeah. So, like, if white tries to go up in the middle, then you're happy to make this trade.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't care that your knight doesn't get into the game, because it's not really into the game.
Yeah.
I think this is best illustrated by looking at what happens if white captures.
Yeah.
Because then when they capture back, and then they try to move their knight up, what is your next step?
Is it to go here?
Yes. So first, after you've gotten rid of that bishop, first order of business is always to start putting pressure on the center.
Okay.
Feel free to make the move.
Yeah.
And then white goes one of these normal standard moves, solidifying the center. And now, here's the difficult part. Now, I'm recommending to you to play this move, knight b8.
Okay.
And the reason for that is I don't like this knight out here. I don't think it's very good.
Yeah.
And I'm also concerned about the squares on c6. Right now, it's completely fine. But I feel like some point in the future, that could be a problem.
Okay. So I just play like b8 and just leave it there.
No. You need to get it in a better position, but for now, rerouting it is the best plan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you move the knight back, and then white tries to create an attack this is like the standard attacking formation.
Yeah.
And it's not to be underestimated. But I will say this, it's not nearly as efficient when they don't have a bishop pointing down. So the fact that you got rid of white's bishop is a major accomplishment.
Yeah.
And here, what I want you to do is find our normal place for the queen. So why the queen first and not the knight? Okay, in this position, it probably doesn't matter. But just in general, I want to keep this, keep some tabs on this c6 square.
Yeah. Okay.
So the queen out. Just a general question for you. A London player will rarely do this, but if white captures this pawn,
yeah,
what are you gonna do?
I think capture my bishop. Maybe.
Yeah. No.
No.
So your standard response to this move will be to take back with your pawn.
Okay.
There's two advantages to this. Number one, your pawn now contributes in towards the middle of the board.
Okay.
But the second thing is that now you've opened up to have a rook pointing down on the backward, the root of white's pawn chain. So let's imagine we took with the bishop, and then let's imagine we had a rook pointing down here. That's not going to be very effective because this pawn is protected by another pawn. So your rook is just going to stand there doing nothing. It cannot get past white's pawn.
Yeah.
On the other hand, in this situation, when you're attacking the guy in the back, that guy cannot be defended by another pawn unless it moves forward.
Yeah.
But then it becomes kind of like an attacking target for you because you got this pawn to challenge. Anyway, point is, open area for your rook and also controlling in towards the middle. So if captures, you take back with a pawn.
Yeah.
And this is another plan you need to be able to deal with if the bishop comes to attack here. Oftentimes, the plan I'm going to be recommending is just that you move your bishop back and kind of make sure that your bishop follows white's bishops.
Okay.
But in this specific case, you're able to move your knight out.
You just don't want to ruin the pawn structure by the king.
Yes. So if he takes this one, you take back with the knight.
Okay.
Pawn structure not ruined. If he takes your knight with his knight,
I take with my knight?
Yes. You made a mistake with this earlier, I remember. You had a similar situation and you kind of messed it up. But the key is that in case of this capture, then you're able to get out of that situation. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what's the tricky situations. Okay, so now we're going to try a variation where white develops the knight.
Okay.
And what are you going to do?
Okay.
Yes. And after captures, white is going to try to be tricky by moving this bishop to annoy us.
Okay.
And put that bishop putting pressure on our knight and on our queen.
Yeah.
And here, what are you going to do?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. I said yeah before I thought you were asking a question. No. No. Because once you've exchanged the bishops, what is your main priority?
Oh, to get my push this pawn, right here.
Yeah, put pressure in the center.
Okay.
Okay, and once you've done that, now I welcome your plan.
Okay.
And the reason I want to do this first is because by putting that pressure, we're limiting our opponent's options. Like, if we go back with our bishop, there's a small chance that they're going to get aggressive and create some trouble that way. Or that they can move their knight up and start trying going after this c6 square.
Yeah.
But by moving first our pawn up and then going back with the bishop, what happens is that if they go up with their knight, one of our options is to just move our queen, and it's so much easier for us to protect this c6 square.
Yeah.
And also we have the option of making this move. It's weird moving the knight back, but we're controlling the c6 square, and we're getting ready to do some trades.
Isn't the normal plan to go here though, or like if it's traded?
No, that plan we're only using if the bishops are already off the board.
Oh, okay.
So that was the plan only for when white has the doubled pawns.
Okay.
Our standard plan is to go back.
No, that makes sense.
And another thing I want to mention is that in this kind of position where white has some aggressive pieces, but we have the aggressive pawns, often what's a good idea is to try and get rid of the well-placed pieces of our opponent while maintaining our superiority with the pawns.
Okay.
Can you see a way to try and provoke the maximum amount of trades?
I was thinking either here or here.
Okay, that's two good moves. Do you have a preference or a reasoning for why you would go with one over the other?
I think this one, because then it opens up 2 possible trades.
Precisely. So even though we haven't really gotten this knight into the game, what takes priority is going for the maximum amount of trades.
Yeah.
Also, another important thing is that if you move this knight, then white has the option of going into your position and causing trouble.
Okay.
So there's like 2 reasons we want to go with the other guy.
Yeah.
But in general, this is a very useful mechanism to remember, that offering the maximum amount of trades can be beneficial.
Yeah.
And if you get all of those trades, what we're left with is basically an identical position, but where your pawns are more aggressive than his pawns.
Yeah.
And that's precisely what we're looking for.
Okay, nice.
So basically, we're going to beat him by making superior trades, by understanding which trades are beneficial for the position.
Yeah.
And then, long term, trying to win the game. Okay, this is very advanced, but I think you're ready for it.
Yeah.
If we have this kind of situation and nothing much is going on, let's say he moves his pawn forward. Your long-term plan here would be to play this move b5.
Okay.
And then you would play this move. We're just going to do a back and forth. Then you would play this move a5.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
And you're just going to basically push forward.
Okay.
And remember that plan we had earlier with this pressure, and then we get the rooks in, right?
Yeah.
Basically that plan.
Okay.
Basically, we're trying to go aggressive with these pawns. So aggressive that we have the choice to open up when we choose. And then we got to get our rooks ready before we open up. Yeah. That's pretty advanced. It's called the minority attack if you want to look up a video on it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look at it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so here's kind of like one of the main problems I found with this variation is if white tries to escape the bishop trade. That's like our one main concern. But
that's fine though.
Yeah, the only way I found for white to try and avoid that exchange is by going out with the bishop first and then creating an escape square for the bishop.
Yeah, I was actually gonna ask that, but then I realized that doesn't it like stop castling as well if you have your bishop here?
Yeah, and that's certainly a good thing. So like you will continue your plan, but then as the bishop retreats, you have stopped white from castling. That is correct. But at the same time, white's position can be pretty scary long term as long as that bishop is pointing down towards your king.
Yeah.
So here it's very important to kind of grab the opportunities that you have. And in this case, that is best exemplified by this move knight to e4. Sorry.
Okay.
Because normally he would have a knight and a bishop here, and you would have no business on this square. But now you've already made use of what was once a useless bishop.
Yeah.
So now you can take other action. And moving this knight up, I think, is pretty good. And then when he moves to challenge your knight, what are you gonna do?
Okay.
Yes. So you're supporting the knight. Yes, the problem is that you weaken this square, but I think it's fine because you're causing so much trouble with your bishop. Like, where's the queen gonna go? Where's his king gonna go? He's unable to castle. He's unable to get his queen out and do a queenside castling because, like, the queen's just gonna get captured.
Yeah.
And then you still have your other plan of, like, getting the knight out, getting the queen out, and then, you know, starting to put pressure in the middle.
Okay.
And this knight is just so well protected and also just taking care of business, standing in the way of any plan white has.
Yeah. Okay.
But that was only when white is like desperately trying to avoid your trade. And I mean, I'm hopeful you'll get some games against the London. I noticed, especially in your Blitz games, that people at basically now you're reaching the level where everyone you face has been watching YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And it feels like everyone who watches YouTube has watched videos on the London, and it's like their only opening. So I definitely noticed you face a disproportionate amount of the London system.
Yeah, because I remember when I was like 900s or something, I don't think I didn't face London once. At least, or maybe I don't remember, but I don't think I faced London once. But now I'm like only like a week ago or something, I've started like getting it like in like half my games against white.
Yeah, let's go again.
Yeah. Okay. Oh.
Oh, did you make a boo-boo?
I forgot.
Yeah, I think just in general, maybe we should change the rule.
Yeah, I need to castle first.
Yeah, getting that king to safety is quite important.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was Benji, and he's now gonna be ready to face the London opening, and as will everyone who paid attention. Do you sell any courses? I mean, I have made some opening courses. They're available on chess24.com. I've created some lessons like strategic videos on strategy. Those are available on chess.com. If you go to their video library and search for Hammer as an author, then you can find some of the content I've created. But right now, all my best content are in my videos on demand on Twitch, because I've been doing daily lessons with Benji now for three and a half weeks. So we have so many streams, like over 20 hours of content on how to become great, starting out from 800 rating. And Benji has gained 350 rating points while we've been working together in 3 weeks. So I'm one thing is being a good coach, but you also need to have a good student. And Benji has been grinding chess for like 2-3 hours every day. So that's also a big part of his improvement.